time, weather, and...
Hello and welcome to Driving with Todd. And I'm Todd. This is day 4 for my top 5 albums of the 1980s. Check out my day 1, 2, and 3 to learn my number 5, 4, and 3 album for the 1980s. Now, number 2 comes in very strong for me. I was a huge fan, or still am really, of The Jam. I just think they were a great group, and I love Paul Weller. Now, they started out kind of as a punk band. They morphed into a mod group, replicating a lot of the mod sounds of the middle 1960s that was coming out of the UK, and then morphed into a soul band. They were doing soul music at the end of the band before it broke up in 1982. When they broke up, Paul Weller created a new group called the Style Council. And it really wasn't a group. It was him and a person by the name of Mick Talbot. And Mick Talbot plays keyboards. And he had been with Dexy's Midnight Runners. As the band grew, so did the personnel within the group. Now, they didn't put out an album until 1984. And that album was called Café Bleu. Prior to that album coming out, they put out a single called My Ever-Changing Moods. And it was kind of a laid-back rocker, electric guitar, Paul Weller singing, a lot of instruments on that record. And it was a minor hit for them here in the United States. It got to, I believe, number 29 on Billboard's Hot 100 Singles chart, and it got to number 5 on the singles chart in the UK. Well, the song also appears on the album Café Bleu, but in a totally different take. So the thing I like about Café Bleu is how Paul Weller and Mick Talbot changed things up. There's so many different genres on this album, and they each get to shine. You know, Paul Weller gets to shine on a couple solo affairs. Mick Talbot has several instrumentals where he really shines on the keyboards. There's other instrumentals. There's some funk on this album. There's some good rock and roll. I mean, there's a little bit of everything. There's some lounge music on this thing. It's incredible where Paul Weller and Mick Talbot took this album. In fact, this is my number 2 choice of the best albums of the 1980s. Now, they put out a great number of albums. The Style Council put out a lot of albums. But this, to me, is still the best thing they did. As they moved forward, they started to gel their genre within an album, where this one was just all over the place and was so fun to listen to. Now, what track do I pick off of this? There are a lot of great tracks on this album. I mean, the whole album is fantastic. Well, I chose to do My Ever-Changing Moods. The reason is, it is a dynamite version of the song. Now, if you've heard the single's really, really good. I mean, I really like the single. The single version is hot. But this version is very personal to Paul Weller. And I'm not going to go any further than that. We'll play the song and you'll see what I mean. So this is my number 2 choice of best albums of the 1980s. Café Bleu by the Style Council. Oh, I always forget to do this. I always call the album cover up so I can show you the album cover. This is Café Bleu. It's just a really cool cover. It's a picture of Mick Talbot and a picture of Paul Weller, and in like blue tones. It's just a really cool album cover. Just really love it, and it's kind of simplistic, and that's another reason why I like it. And that's what you're going to hear in this next song. So now let's get into the song. This is My Ever-Changing Moods by the Style Council from the LP Café Bleu.
turns to moonlight, and I'm at my best, yeah, praising the way it all works, and gazing upon the rest, yeah. The cool before the warm, the calm after the storm, or the cool before the warm, the calm after the storm. I wish to stay forever, letting the spin up blue. Oh, but I'm caught up in a whirlwind and my ever-changing moods, yeah.
This is why I love this version of this song. It's Mick Talbot playing the piano and Paul Weller singing. It's reminiscent of sitting in a nightclub, a very smoky nightclub, and there's a guy playing a piano and just singing his heart out for the audience and feeling every word that he's singing. And that's what I get when I listen to this song. It is, I think, very personal to Paul Weller, and you can't get any more personal than just a piano and his voice. Just tremendous. Let's keep on going.
Changing moods, yeah. Bitter turns to sugar, some call it passive tune. But the day things turn sweet for me won't be too soon. No, the hush before the silence, the winds after the blast of the hush before the silence, the winds after the blast. I wish we moved together, this time the bus is soon. Oh, but we're caught up in the wilderness and ever-changing moods, yeah. Teardrops turn to children, we've never had the time to commit the sins that pay for through another's evil mind. The love after the hate, the love we leave to later. The love after the hate, the love we leave to later. I wish we'd wake up one day and everyone feel blue. Oh, but we're caught up in the dailies and an ever-changing mood, yeah. Evil turns to statues, masses form a line, but I know which way I run to if the choice was mine. The past is our knowledge, the present our mistake, and the future we always leave too late. I wish we'd come to our senses and see there is no truth. Oh, and those who promote the confusion for this ever-changing moods, yeah.
Love that song. Love that song. I love both versions. The 45 version is the first version I ever heard because I bought it before the album came out and thought, wow, this is just a dynamite song. Then I got the album. I bought the Café Bleu album, and I'm seeing that my Ever Changing Moods is on the album. So I'm thinking, okay, that's probably the single version. And I'm listening to the album and it comes on. It's that piano and Paul Weller, and it's like, wow, this is just great. They did not duplicate any single versions on this album. So if there was a single that was on this album, it was different than what the original single was. And that I think was kind of cool, so that there's something totally different on this album than there was that was released as a single or a B-side of a single. So I think that was kind of cool about this album as well. But I just always loved this version of My Ever Changing Moods. That piano, it just feels so good. And in Paul Weller's voice, he's putting so much effort into singing it. And it feels so personal as he's singing that song. I just think that is wild. And this whole album, Café Bleu, from beginning to end, it starts out with instrumental by Mick Talbot and ends with an instrumental by Mick Talbot. And then everything in between is just wild. I'm just really cool. A lot of nice ballads like we just heard. There's several of those. Some funk is in here. Quite a number of instrumentals. It's amazing how many instrumentals are on this album as well, where I think any other band probably couldn't get away with it. But it was a style council. It was Paul Weller. He was somebody who could just do just about anything and make it sound fantastic. Paul Weller, even today, he's just putting out great music. The guy just doesn't stop. The Jam, the Style Council, and then as a solo artist, just fantastic. So my number 2 album for the 1980s is Café Bleu by the Style Council. If you haven't heard it, it's one of those albums you got to hear sometime in your life, because it is just so special and so fantastic. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed the Style Council doing the song My Ever Changing Moods for the album Café Bleu. If you did, hit that like button. That'd be really, really cool. If you have any comments about the Style Council, this version of My Ever Changing Moods, or the single version, whichever, or the album Café Bleu, put in the comments below. That'd also be really appreciated. I'm going to take the link to this video. And again, so I'm a fan of videos that there's some motion in them. You can see something going on. It took me a long time to find this video. It hasn't been watched very much either, but I think it's very well done, where they took these kind of, I don't know how they did it, but they colorized these photos and then just put them into order to show almost like the history of Paul Weller and the Style Council. Just a kind of cool video, and then overlaid My Ever Changing Moods onto those pictures. Very, very nice. So I'm going to take a link to this video and put it into my description below, or my notes below. If you want to see it again without me stopping it and interrupting it, pick on the link, it will open up and it will play. I'm also going to put a link to the channel that uploaded this video. You can check out that channel by clicking on that link. You might find some things you want to watch on there as well. Hey, have you subscribed to Driving with Todd? If you haven't, it's about time you do. We're playing some really cool music and doing a lot of neat stuff here. Just go below this video. I know you still have it open. Go below the video, hit the subscribe. It's that easy. If you go over here, ring the bell, you'll get updates to my latest videos. So we're on day number 4 with the number 2 favorite album of the 1980s for me. Now, if you have a top 5 list of albums for the 1980s you'd like to share, please put it in the comments. That'd be so cool. I'd love to see what your top 5 albums are. And I'm sure they're a lot different than the ones I've chosen. Now, if you come back tomorrow, you'll learn my number 1 album for the 1980s. And I think it will surprise you. I really believe it will surprise you. So come back tomorrow and catch Driving with Todd. This put a huge smile on my face. I'm hoping to put a huge, huge smile on your face. And peace out, baby.